Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Home to the best MJ community as well. Today is Thursday, July 11th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to do an update on the MSOS chart. We'll take a look at the technicals, what to expect in terms of that in the days, weeks, months ahead. We'll be discussing, is the correction over? I doubt it. I still think that there's a little bit more downside possibility here leading into the end of the comment period. And we've been seeing a lot of FUD articles, which we knew would be the case, right? We're going to continue to see FUD until rescheduling is official. So we'll discuss all that and more. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Full disclosure, I do own MSOS in my portfolio as well. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And there was an article, in case you missed it, on July 8th, saying that the Florida MJ legalization bid is headed to victory. And this is from Forbes, so a very reputable source. And that's from a poll suggesting that. So this is big news. Obviously, I think, I was never in doubt. I always thought that Florida was going to pass it. There was a lot of people saying it was a coin flip, it was a toss-up, 50-50. But as of right now, I think we're sitting just north of 60%. I think it's going to come in somewhere around that 62 to 65% when all is said and done, when they actually come to vote in November. But this is going to be arguably the biggest market in the world, and definitely in the U.S., in my opinion. Florida's on the up and up for sure, and I can't wait to... They've already got an amazing MJ community, and it reminds me a lot of Alberta, actually, like where I reside here in Edmonton, Alberta. The MJ community here is just second to none. It's so vibrant. It's amazing. And we just had our first restaurant called CBD CBN. I did a video on that, open up. And then there's also the first festival. So there's going to be... they're going to have the first festival is going to be, I've already covered that as well, but essentially you're going to be able to buy MJ products at the comedy festival, and that's featuring Kevin Hart and a few other headliners as well. So that's great to see. Eventually this is going to be a thing where, you'll go to sporting events and things like that, arenas, concerts, pubs, concerts, clubs. You'll be able to buy, maybe not, pre-rolls and stuff like that, but, you'll definitely be able to buy beverages and edibles and that type of category, because that's going to be huge, right? We can't just go into an arena and just light one up, right? But I did ask Rock as well. We were talking about this in the Pow Group private community. Who's the biggest operators in Florida? So I said, in my opinion, it was Trulieve, obviously, number one, Cureleaf, and then AYR, and then I think Cresco as well. So I asked Grok. I love coming on here. It's AI's chatbot, and seeing what Grok has to say, because it's by far the best AI bot out there. I would say it's light years ahead of ChatGPT as well. So I said, which MJ, I'm trying to not say that word, which MJ companies have the biggest footprint in Florida, USA? Based on the provided information, Trulieve appears to have the largest footprint in Florida among the MJ companies mentioned. Trulieve is described as Florida's largest medical MJ operator and the nation's largest MJ retailer after a major acquisition. The other companies mentioned, such as Harvest Health, we also have Verano Holdings, Cureleaf, Air Wellness, Cresco, also have a significant presence in Florida, but the information suggests that Trulieve has the biggest footprint in the state, which nobody, I think, would dispute that. Obviously, Trulieve is a monster in Florida. They've got pretty much a monopoly there. But there's going to be a lot of competition in that market. But we have seen medical growth, patient growth slow as well in Florida, which was an interesting thing that I wanted to mention. But this is going to be huge, and I think this is going to pass. I think we're going to get rescheduling before the elections. I think it's going to happen sometime in the fall. And we had a ton of information coming out saying that there's a GOP House committee trying to block rescheduling. Basically, I said that was all FUD. There's no teeth to it. There's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be opposition, right? There's going to be tons of FUD until it officially gets rescheduled. And even if they were to pass, some sort of bill, the chances of that happening before it actually gets rescheduled, right? It's probably going to get rescheduled before they do anything else. So in my opinion, it's a done deal. It's either Schedule 3 or descheduling. I don't think there's anything other scenario that comes to fruition. I'm pretty sure, I'm as close to 100% as possible, we're going to see rescheduling to Schedule 3 sometime before the elections. If not, it's a political death sentence, right? So we'll do an update on MSOS. MSOS ETF, if we take a look here at the chart on the 15-minute time frame, it was a 15-minute bull flag that confirmed. We were looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders, but it did negate that. And then this morning I mentioned in the POW Group private community as well, and just as a heads up as well, I'll be interviewing CEO Nevis Brands, the CEO John Keeber, again on Monday, July 15th. If anybody does have any questions, they had a pretty impressive Q2 2024 financial report. So if anybody does have any questions, let me know. But I mentioned at 9:31 a.m. Mountain Time, MSOS working on a 15-minute uptrend and bull flag. Target, if confirmed, is 775. Now we just need SPY to cooperate. And actually, we went the opposite direction into the end of the day as SPY. We started to pull back a little bit, and then it was perfection, right? So I made the post in the POW Group private community pretty much right here. We had our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and then we were looking for the higher high in the 15-minute uptrend to confirm. So once we came down here, we held the 0.32 like a boss, 723. We hit 722. So that was a nice save there. And then I said we needed to break 742 to confirm it. We came up, we confirmed it by breaking 742. And then from there, we get our measured move by just looking from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.382 of the fib. And then that gives you a measured move of 775, and we hit 764. So we came within about 1.3% away from that target. Now, one thing I was looking at before, and I'll just get rid of some of these lines here so that we can see it a little bit better. One thing I was looking at before was a potential inverse head and shoulders here on the daily time frame, but it didn't play out as expected. So we had our left shoulder, head, a potential right shoulder, but it pulled back more than we would have liked to see, and we actually dropped to a lower low. So that negated the inverse head and shoulders. But we are gearing up for a potential EMA 12 and 26 bull cross rather on the daily time frame, which is great to see. We're still a ways away though before we see that cross. And we did have a daily bear flag that I mentioned as well that had a target of 686, and we hit 680. So we actually came down, we hit it perfectly. Even if you just entered there off of that support in a quick swing trade, that was almost 20%. We came back down and dropped to a lower low, and that was after daily oversold conditions were met. And I mentioned after the big run up in April 30th when the DEA agreed with HHS to start the process to move it to Schedule 3. I said, don't be surprised if we go to daily oversold here. And a lot of people were asking, is it a good time to add now that we confirmed a monthly uptrend? Is it a good time to add at $10 or $11 on MSOS? Of course, everybody wants to add when we're going up and we're breaking resistance, right? Because then you start to feel good about it, right? You're not questioning whether or not this is the only place people don't like to buy on a discount is the stock market, right? It's a weird phenomenon. So I said I wouldn't go chasing here. What would more than likely happen is we're going to see a ton of FUD. We're going to see tons of opposition, right? Lawsuits. They're going to knock this down. Typically, the summer is a summer lull and a kind of drop off in activity. And then sure enough, we came back down and I said, watch for daily oversold territory. We hadn't been oversold on the daily time frame since October of 2023. So that was a very long time. And then sure enough, like clockwork, we hit that daily oversold territory. And again, if you just started to enter there, that was a nice area to start to scale in. I don't think we're going back below $5 on MSOS. I would say that the long-term bottom is in. The only wild card is the S&P 500. If we were to see a sizable correction there, which very well could happen, and it would still be healthy, even if we pulled back 10, 15% on the S&P 500, it sounds like crazy talk to say that would be healthy, but it actually would be healthy. Like it wouldn't even be any major chart damage at that point. So what do I always say? If the S&P 500 pulls back 1-2%, you can expect individual stocks to pull back 3-5%, right? Usually 2 to 3 times as much. So if we saw a 10%, say, pullback on S&P 500 for easy math, we could see 25 to 35% of a pullback pretty quickly on MSOS. So we have to keep that in mind. And if we were to see a really big pullback on the S&P 500 or any kind of black swan, we have to come to terms with the fact that MJ is not set up well at all, right? Like we're near all-time lows and 52-week lows on a lot of names. So if that were to be the case, like we could easily drop another 20 to 40% in a hurry. Like I said, I'm not expecting that. And a black swan is just that. You can't predict it, right? You don't expect it. That's why it's called a black swan, right? Like C19, etc. So we have to keep that in mind that MJ is not positioned well. The best case scenario for bulls is that we start to trend back up from here and then allow enough cushion if we were to see some sort of large correction on the broader market that we would be a lot better positioned for that downside, right, from the headwinds from the broader market. So one thing I wanted to mention as well, on the daily time frame here, we are gearing up. We just had a stochastic bull cross, which is great. But on the daily time frame, I'm looking at this death cross. So we just had a golden cross, but now we're gearing up for the 50 above the 200-day moving average. And when the shorter term, the 50 is above the 200 and they cross, that's called a death cross. So I think we could come back up here. We do have a bull flag target, like I said, of around 775 there on that 15-minute time frame, and anything under 820 is just a daily lower high here. And the fact that we have the 200-day moving average there at $8, and we also have the 100 weekly there at 785. There's a lot of resistance. Now that we lost these moving averages as support, like back here, they're now going to act as resistance, right? It flips. So just like here, it proved as resistance, and I'll just inspect this here so you can see it. Just like right here, it proved as resistance. And then we came back down, dropped to a lower low, and now we're starting to gravitate back towards those moving averages, but now we'll just expect it to be resistance again. So $8, somewhere around that $7.80, $8 is where we could top out here potentially on this daily bounce. And then I think we could see one more lower low, and that could coincide with a pullback in the broader market. The S&P 500 was also an hourly bull flag that played out to perfection, and we had a target on that at 564, and then like pre-market we came like within $1 of that, but then we pulled back substantially. Hourly consolidation. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on the hourly time frame. So short term, it's looking like the S&P 500 could see some weakness here. On the daily time frame, we finally started daily consolidation, losing the low of the previous candle. So we'll see what happens here, but it's not looking that great at the moment. It could be a potential bull flag here. Let's just get rid of that actually, and get rid of this one here. So we'll see on the daily time frame. It is a potential daily bull flag. So if we hold 554 on SPY, it is a daily bull flag potential. So bulls will want to hold that. If we lose that, then it's negated. If we break above the high here at 562.33 and hold that key support at 554, then it'll be confirmed, and we'll be expecting a measured move to roughly 575. It's also a monthly bull flag on the S&P 500, which I've mentioned many times. And we'll just get rid of this here again. So the monthly bull flag, as you can see, targeting 620. You just take your low to the high here, move it out to your 0.32 fib on the monthly time frame, and it's in a monthly uptrend as well. So a bullish continuation pattern in an uptrend gives it that much more conviction. And here we are very close to that target, 620. It's also a weekly cup and handle, which I mentioned as well on a previous stream. If we zoom out here, actually, I think I had it on SPX, so we'll bring that up. It's the same, it's the S&P 500 index, but without dividends. So if we take a look at the weekly time frame, it's actually a weekly cup and handle. Here is your flag and your handle, and it's saying we could be targeting 610. So 610, 620 seems pretty much baked in at this point. But like I said, if we were to see continued weakness here, that would not bode well for MJ stocks, and why I think we could see a little bit more of downside. Like we don't have any support on the S&P 500. Let's bring up SPY actually. So no, a lot more people track that. So we don't have any support until 492. So from current levels, let's say we were to start monthly consolidation and came down to EMA 12, that'd be an 11% pullback and still be in a monthly uptrend and still be extremely healthy. So don't be surprised if we pull back 5 to 10% on the S&P 500. There's going to be, calls, the mainstream media, the talking heads are going to say, the top is in, this is over. Congress, there was some news out yesterday. I posted a video on this. Nancy Pelosi's worst nightmare. Congress is working on getting banned from trading stocks. So there's a bipartisan group agreement reached banning Congress from trading stocks. So I've been saying this is going to happen before the top of the market, and that'll be a major indicator basically to sell everything, especially big tech and crypto. Because I think that once big tech and crypto, AI, etc. tops out, we're going to see MJ enter a multi-year bull market, and it's going to be a big beneficiary of those topping out. But a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on the S&P 500 in the 15-minute time frame as well. So we have our left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. I just noticed that while I was on the stream here. So we could be seeing a reversal here. EMA 12 and 26 bull cross lining up, coming off 15-minute oversold as well with those lower wicks. But we went opposite into the end of the day. Look at MSOS on the 15-minute time frame. We were actually breaking to higher highs and 15-minute bull flag on MSOS into the end of the day. And we were in a 15-minute downtrend with a 15-minute bear flag confirming on the S&P. So we were kind of inverse, kind of giving more credence to to my thesis that we're probably going to see MJ go the opposite way, right? Money has to go somewhere, and MJ's been in a brutal, almost 4-year bear market. So I do think, is the correction over? I don't think so just yet. We are seeing a stochastic bull cross, which is great on the weekly. Then usually we get a close above the 10-week moving average. Then the MACD crosses and follows through, and then we see continued upside and momentum. But we're still a ways away before we confirm that MACD bull cross. So I'm thinking that we could come back, test that 10-week moving average at 792 as well. So there's a lot of resistance there around 780 to $8. And we're gearing up for the first ever 50 and 100 weekly bull cross. But Like I said, we're back below that. We had an upper wick. It's proving as resistance. So I would expect one more fake out, one more flush and shakeout of retail before we see massive upside. And like I said, probably into the end of July, into August after the comment period is over, and we're going to see rescheduling gain traction. And there'll probably be an administrative hearing, right? But I think it's going to get official ruling and approved sometime in the fall, September, October. But I wouldn't be surprised if we came back, test $7.80, $8 bumper head there, and then see one more leg down, see that see that death cross, not a golden cross. The golden cross was back here. After that death cross occurs, then I think we could see one more leg down potentially. Maybe we come down into the $6.50, $6, and then we start to see this MACD bull cross and follow through, and then that could potentially be our bottom there. And like I said, this weekly 50 and 100 is great to see, but this is the weekly time frame. So just because they're crossing doesn't mean that we're going to the moon today or tomorrow, right? It could take multiple weeks because of how long some of these signals take to play out, especially on the weekly time frame. If it was on the 2-minute time frame, well, we would expect a pretty big move pretty quickly because it's on a very, very short period of time. But these weekly time frames, it can take a while to play out, sometimes months, right? So you have to keep that in mind. But I am thinking that we could see, like I said, just this last relief rally, one more leg down, and then get that death cross out of the way, and then work on getting a MACD bull cross there on the weekly, get above that 10-week moving average, and then I think we'll start to recover from there, like I said, after the comment period is over. And then adult use in Florida, more than likely going to get passed, in my opinion. So it's looking like we could see major fireworks into the end of the year. And with the S&P 500 multi bullish indicators, we've got bull flag, weekly cup and handle, we got daily bull flag on deck. Like, there's so many things to be bullish on the S&P 500. Rate cuts, more than likely, I think it was over 80% chance that they're going to cut rates in September, which I've been saying is the most likely scenario. And Congress being banned from owning stocks. Both of those are lining up into the fall. So it's looking really, really good that we could see more upside, but that's generally going to be a bad sign for markets. And again, we have to remember that MJ isn't positioned that well. So make sure to have some cash on the sidelines and, expect some turbulence, because if the S&P 500 were to drop significantly, MJ would likely drop as well, hard and fast, but I think it will recover a lot quicker, and it will enter a multi-year bull market while the rest of big tech, AI, crypto enters a multi-year bear market, similar to what happened when Canada legalized in 2018. All right, going to end it there. It's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below, and we'll continue the conversation there. Have a great night, and we'll see you again on the next video.